This affected the whole community. I mean, things like this don't happen in West Des Moines, Iowa.
But it did. A 12-year-old boy on his paper route vanishes without a trace. Tomorrow he would have turned 41 years old. The kidnapping of Johnny Gosch robbed the metro of its innocence. Children were afraid to go out. Parents watched their every move.
Johnny has never been found. Channel 13's Aaron Brilbeck talks with his mother as she prepares to cope with another birthday without her son.
It's a kidnapping that would shock an entire community and forever change the way that parents watch their children. A 12-year-old paper boy, while doing his paper route along this quiet West Des Moines street, disappears without a trace. Tomorrow, Johnny Gosch would have turned 41 years old. It's every parent's worst nightmare. A child vanishes without a trace. Well, that's what happened to Johnny Gosch in the early morning hours of September 5th, 1982. Johnny usually delivered papers with his father, but on that day, he went on his own to surprise his dad. Witnesses say he was approached by a man driving a blue Ford Fairmont like this one. Less than an hour later, he was gone. Neighbors called Johnny's parents when their papers didn't arrive. His father went to check it out.
Johnny's dad came back to the house and said, call the police right away. Johnny's wagon is sitting up at the corner. Papers are still there. He hasn't delivered one. Something's dreadfully wrong.
Noreen Gosch called the police and then spoke with several of the other paper boys who last saw Johnny. They told her about the car and about the driver who approached them.
The guy shut off his engine, opened the passenger door, and swung his feet out on the curb, right where the boys were assembling their newspapers. And he started talking about, where's 86th Street? Blah, blah, blah. Johnny turned to Mike and said, I've got my papers loaded in the wagon. I'm scared. I am getting out of here. I'm going to head home.
As Johnny left, the other paper boys told Johnny's mother the driver of the car took off too.
The man pulled the door shut, started up the engine, but before he left, he reached up and he flicked the dome light 3 times in the car. Then he pulled out and left.
Gosch believes the driver was signaling another person who later grabbed Johnny. She says one of the paper boys saw a tall man come out from in between 2 houses and then follow Johnny. Gosch hired an artist to draw up this sketch of the driver based on witness accounts. Police began scouring the area, but hit one wall after another.
So they went ahead and called in the command staff, the troops. They called detectives, reserves, contacted Polk County Sheriff's Office, the State Patrol. At that point, then they did a door-to-door canvass of that neighborhood, trying to find someone who saw something of Johnny, saw anything at all, but nothing was found.
Days turned to months and then years, and still no sign of Johnny Gosch. Police tracked so many leads, they have several full filing cabinets just dedicated to this case. Then, years after the disappearance, someone left an envelope with 3 disturbing photos of several boys, all tied up, on Noreen Gosch's front doorstep. One of the boys appeared to be Johnny.
I literally could not breathe. I could not get my breath. I was so totally unprepared to see something like that. All these years had gone by, and here was this picture.
Gosch brought the pictures to the West Des Moines Police Department.
When I did, we spread them out, and the detective kept saying, "That's Johnny. That's Johnny." I said, "I know, that's Johnny."
The press went wild, with Gosch's story reported all over the country. Then West Des Moines police called her to tell her they were planning a press conference of their own to say the pictures were not of Johnny after all.
I said, "That picture is Johnny." And the detective said to me, "Well, somebody from Florida called us and said that he used to be an investigator, and he remembered this picture, these pictures, from a case in 1970-something. And I said, "Has he provided you any evidence?" "Well, no, we just have his phone call." And I said, "Based on that phone call, you're going to do a press conference and say that this picture's not Johnny?" He said, "Well, yes, I am."
To this day, Gosch believes this is a picture of her son, bound and gagged and abused by pedophiles. Police insist it's not.
We found out where the photos were taken, talked to investigators in Florida, and they were able to identify all the kids in that picture, and they weren't Johnny Gosch.
Since the disappearance, Gosch has dedicated her life to finding her son's abductors and raising awareness about kidnapping and human trafficking. She has lobbied to change laws and improve child safety. Johnny was even one of the first children to appear on a missing kid's milk carton.
And the things that are good is the awareness that this has brought. This case changed the country. It was the watershed case.
Police believe the only real break in the case will come when Johnny's remains are found. They doubt he's still alive.
In the ideal world, he's alive and he comes home and everybody's happy, but in the real world, more than likely, our best lead will come when, his body is found. At that point, then it becomes a crime scene and there's new evidence that we can look at. Again, as a parent, I don't know what Ms. Gosch is going through, and I don't know, maybe that statement I just made is kind of harsh, but that's reality. That would be more than likely what will happen.
But with her son's 41st birthday here, she prefers to believe that he's still alive and often thinks about what his life would have been like if it hadn't been for that fateful day in 1982.
He would have gone on, probably found the love of his life, maybe, and hopefully settled down, had a family, an interesting career that he enjoyed doing like his older siblings. You'd want the very best for your child. The sadness is that was all robbed from him, and those years are missing. The clock stopped at 12 years old for us.
Channel 13's Erin Brilbeck reporting. West Des Moines police are hoping that if anyone remembers seeing anything unusual the day Johnny Gosch disappeared, they will call investigators. To learn more about cold cases around the state, log on to iowacoldcases.org. There is a link to that site on our site, WHOTV.com.